Alright, today we're going to check out Google's anti-gravity tool. But first, before we dive in, we need to understand what Google Antigravity actually is. Well, it's a Google tool that launched late last year in 2025, and basically it makes it super easy to implement AI agents using language models like Gemini, Gemini 3 Pro, the latest Claude models, and the newest ones like Claude Sonnet 4.5 or the latest ChatGPT models. It's a fork of VS Studio Code, which means those of us who've already worked with this tool, the most popular programming environment out there, will find ourselves in a very familiar and well-adapted interface. So we won't need much time to get up to speed. And basically, these agents handle planning out all the steps needed to achieve whatever prompt or goal you've given them. Once they've planned it, they'll analyze, execute the programming, and then verify. That's what they're selling us. Obviously, AI is still in development and isn't perfect, which is why this tool involves both humans and artificial intelligence. In other words, it simply uses AI as a boost for the programmer so they can develop the application. This is obvious, and it's true that nowadays you no longer need to program line by line like in the past, but you will have to. I'm not saying you need minimum knowledge of the programming language being used, but you do need to understand programming logic. This obviously develops over time, so don't be afraid to use these types of tools. This is Google Antigravity, so try it out. Why not? Tell me your opinion. Alright, many of you are probably wondering now that Google has launched these two tools, which one's better to use, Google Antigravity or Google AI Studio, because they might seem pretty similar at first glance. Though one clear difference is that Google AI Studio is unlimited and lets us use exclusively Gemini models, while Google Antigravity isn't unlimited but does let us use it for free. Plus, we get extended usage if we have paid Google plans like Google Gemini. It does allow integration with models like ChatGPT or Claude, those latest models they've released. The reality is that even though they might seem like very similar tools, they're actually made for two completely different use cases. First off, Google AI Studio is built for browser applications, HTML stuff. It's designed for making MVPs, prototypes of applications, and for experimenting. So for example, if we wanted to build an app and test out how the front end would look visually, we'd be using Google AI Studio. It's useful for experimenting, but like I said, it only works for the front end. What does that mean? Front end means we can only program information that the user can access. So for example, if we created a database with all our platform's users, that's back end. It's information we don't want users to see, and for good reason, because otherwise our entire database could leak, or if we're using API integrations and such, we don't want anyone seeing those APIs. Well, Google AI Studio doesn't support all that. Plus, something really great about Google AI Studio is you can use it directly from the web with no limits experimentally and get really good results. Here we have a very basic result like a mind mapping app. But now we're moving to cooler stuff like a tool that creates charts for you. We have a web app here that we've been able to build with AI Studio without any issues, and many other super interesting things we can do experimentally. But if we're looking for something more polished or production ready, where we integrate a back-end payment systems and more processes, we'll head over to Google Antigravity. And here, AI won't just be writing the code, it'll also be acting as an autonomous developer through its group of AI agents. If we want to develop complete software that manages files, folders, users, sessions, and more, we can use Google Antigravity. Plus, we can delegate complex tasks, and Google Antigravity can interact directly with the terminal, execute commands if we give it permission, and troubleshoot errors on its own. Additionally, Antigravity has a built-in browser with agents that let you view and click within the application to see what's working, which is also quite relevant. And you can also work with multiple agents, one fixing a bug, another programming a new feature within the platform. So in summary, Google Antigravity is for application development, while Google AI Studio is for prototyping. One runs locally, the other on the web. One uses autonomous agents that run locally in terminal, that's Google Antigravity, and the other has direct chat with the model and some variable adjustments. One accesses your local files, that's Google Antigravity, and the other accesses files you manually upload to the browser, that's Google AI Studio. So, in summary, For most cases, Google Antigravity is the solution, okay? But if we want to do something more experimental or a quick application, just to see a prototype or visualize an idea we have in minutes, then Google AI Studio is the solution. I hope you enjoyed it. Cheers. All right, let's cut to the chase and get straight to what matters. How to get Google Antigravity. It's really, really simple. Basically, click Get for Windows here or the button at the top right, and then click Get. Here it'll ask which version you want. Linux, Windows x64, ARM64, or Mac. Well, I have the x64 version. And as you can see, it's a file that weighs nothing, about 200 megs. We open the executable, obviously accept the terms, and here we have some settings like, well, I'd leave them as is. It'll create a desktop icon and says, add open with anti-gravity to Windows Explorer context menu. We don't want this for now. Basically, this means when you have a file and you, for example, right-click, okay, for example, this file here, we'd right-click and it'll say open with, and there you can select anti-gravity, okay? If we open this right now, it would default to Visual Studio Code. We're not going to change this for now, since obviously we're using the tool for the first time. First, we need to know if we like it or not, okay? Let's click next and continue. Let's wait. And perfect. Finally, we can click Launch Anti-Gravity, and now a window should open up for us. There it is, where we can do the setup. Let's click Next, and basically it gives us some options where we can start fresh, meaning we'll start without importing any configurations from other applications, or if we've used other tools like VS Code, Windsurf, or Cursor, as we're seeing here, it can import the configurations we had in those programs so we don't have to adapt and can keep the same work methodology we had before. In this case, I'll hit Start Fresh since we're doing the tutorial and I want you all to see how it works from scratch. Here we have the colors, well, dark mode, and now they're asking us about agent autonomy, meaning how much freedom we want to give the AI. We have strict mode, which would be where it'll be enforcing, as it shows here, the terminal, the browser, executions, policies. Everything will require confirmation at the cost of agent speed and iteration speed. This can be changed at any time. Then we have the recommended one, which is review-driven development, which is basically maximum autonomy. Sorry, this is the recommended one where the agent asks permission for critical actions like, for example, look, executing in the terminal. Well, here obviously we'll always need to make a request. For a policy, we're going to set it to request as well. And for JavaScript execution, well, it's disabled, that's fine. Then we have agent-driven development, which is basically giving the agent complete free rein. I don't recommend that because at some point it can start installing libraries, saving files you don't need. It won't necessarily do it wrong, but often it won't give the best solution and will just bloat your project more and more. I think it's really important that you understand each process the AI does. I mean, you don't need to understand line by line what it's changing, but you should understand the logic of what it's trying to change to see if it makes sense or not. If not, if you're not going to read it and don't care and want to rely completely on AI and don't care at all about optimization and all that, which is your problem, then you can go with this. And then a customization, okay? There's not much more to decide, honestly. Let's hit recommend, we hit next. Here it lets us configure the key bindings. We'll leave it normal and then the extensions. It says have popular language extensions. Bah, let's leave it at recommended. We sign in with Google. Obviously, if we have a Gemini paid plan, we'll log in with that account. And nothing. Here we can hit next. We can hit next without needing to tell it to extract all our information, meaning to use our information to train itself. And well, as we can see, the interface it's the same as Visual Studio Code, but also the same. I'd say that right now, the only thing that's changed is the logo at the top left. All right, how does Google Antigravity work? Well, actually, it's pretty straightforward and works just like Visual Studio Code. To get started, let's create a project. To do this, we'll do an open folder. And what I'm going to do now is, for example, create a mind map project. Basically, we select this folder and click Select Folder. We say yes. And here, without further ado, okay, we can hide the left toggle. The right one, we can open the terminal from here. And on the right, as you see, we have the mind map, okay, which is basically the folder we created. Here we'd have the editor, since right now we don't have no components. Now, if we go here to explore all this, if we don't have it in this order, we can find it here, okay? In the view section, we have here all the sections, but Yes, as you see in Explorer, we don't have anything inside the folder, and it lets us switch to Agent Manager. Here we have the Agent Manager, okay? Then we'll go into detail. We have code with agent, which is this, right? And edit code inline, which right now, since we have no code, we can't use. So where do we start? All right, let's start programming with an agent, okay? Which would be this section here on the left. We're going to make it as large as possible. And as we see, we have multiple options. We can add media, mention some workspaces. It has different modes, two modes. Plan mode, which says agents can plan before executing tasks, used for deep research, complex tasks, or collaborative work. Then we have fast, which says the agent executes tasks directly, used for simple tasks that can be completed quickly. Okay, now if we're going to make a very specific change, we can use the faster mode for that particular case, but the vast majority of the time we'll want to work with planning, okay? Especially if we're doing more logic-based work rather than just specific changes. Then we have here the model selection. We have Gemini 3 Pro High, the Low, the Flash, Claude Sonnet 4.5, the 4.6 with Thinking Even, and GPT OSS 120B, which shows medium in parentheses. So when will we use each of these models? Well, first of all, Gemini 3 Pro, both high and low, we'll use for complex, deep reasoning tasks. Gemini 3 Flash we'll use when we want more speed and for more routine tasks. Perfect for quick bug fixes, simple code edits, and low latency tasks. Then we have Claude Sonnet, which many programmers prefer for. As an alternative for pure coding, many programmers use Claude Sonnet directly, and it's perfect, especially the latest model, 4.6 Thinking. Let's keep it simple. And it works great for refactoring code. The truth is, Claude has always been the pioneer in programming. I mean, you have to remember this tool is from Google, and yet they still decided to add Claude's models. There must be a reason for that. And GPT-4 is there if we're used to OpenAI's response patterns, but honestly, it doesn't have much of a place here. If anyone knows what use we might find for this, I understand it's an open source code model and all that. I'd see it more as something experimental, something that if Claude and Gemini aren't able to solve, hey, maybe the GPT OSS model, 120 billion parameters, maybe it can solve it. So it's an alternative. Well, now we'd be asking it about building an application, right? Obviously, we're not going to tell it, hey, make me a mind map, app for mind map. Let's do it, huh? I'm going to hit send. Here we go, just so you can see what it's going to do for us. All right, here we're seeing that it gives us the tasks. It says, first of all, we'll plan the application and the architecture and design. Wow, it took it away from me, huh? Then we'll create the HTML, the structure of the index, HTML. Then we'll create the styles, create the application logic, and then verify the application in the browser. Very interesting. And here we have the implementation plan. So let's see. We're in experimental mode right now. Ha ha ha. Here it gives us the implementation plan. We should read through this. It's really important that we read it, okay? Because anything we don't like, we need to change it, okay? We select it, click comment, and change it, okay? Right now, since I've given it so much freedom, it's basically going to do whatever it wants, okay? But let's hit proceed and see what happens. Later, I'll show you how we can do something more professional. But just to see how this tool works initially, this is more than enough, okay? But we're already seeing that it has a much more professional workflow than Google's AI Studio. I've also used Cursor. Honestly, I haven't seen this in Cursor. I use the paid version of Cursor, you know? But anyway, let's see if the application is actually good or not. All right, it's created the index HTML for now. I assume we need to accept it. If we go here to changes overview, we can just accept all. I'm saying this because it got stuck loading, see? And now it's starting to generate. Well, here it creates everything at once. I think it was just loading and now it's done. We're seeing it's going pretty fast. Pretty strong, right? Here, 800 lines of code. Okay, that's quite a few lines, but well, since we want to see the tool's potential for live coding, which is ultimately going to be the main use case for many of you, let's go ahead with it. If it fails on me too. Wow, it's working great, isn't it? I can't move the initial one. Add child. Oh my god, it did this on the first try, dude. Let's see. When I edit, it moves as we can see. We have save, export. I'm going to do a test, which will be closing this and reopening it. The information is saved, but where is it saved? We can export a PNG. We can change the color. Double click to add a node and tap to add a child, okay? We can go back with Control Z2 and do redo, can't do redo, auto layout, which organizes everything, and center view. Wow, not bad at all, honestly. I mean, as we can see right now, many things are missing, being able to change the shapes. It's missing things like adding images, links, being able to click links, having multiple maps, exporting and sharing the map with others, though this save thing. But wow, right off the bat, I'm impressed, huh? Though it's true what we asked for was pretty generic. Let's move on to something more interesting. So for this use case, I have this prompt. This prompt is basically going to work for Google Antigravity. You'll have the prompt, well, right now on screen, it's going to be showing up. I have this prompt stored in the Prompt Vault tool. You'll find it in the description. It's a tool for saving all your prompts conveniently locally. Lets us work with variables, lets us upload images, lets us create our own templates when saving a prompt. I mean, it's amazing, right? So you'll have it in the description. For example, I needed a tool to save my prompts because we've all spent half an hour developing a prompt only to lose it. And then when we want to use that prompt again, we have to rebuild it from scratch and boom, another half hour gone. If this happened once in your life, fine, but when it happens every week, it's a problem. So that's why I created this tool, to keep all my prompts in one place. So we're going to hit copy, and basically what we need to do with this prompt is describe our idea. My idea is a mind map, okay? I'm even going to add some references, okay? Mind map. I'm going to ask for color styles, image support, local storage, and any other features you can think of. All right, we hit copy, and now we go to Gemini and send this prompt, okay? With the variable modified. The variable, of course, you'll have to modify manually instead of being able to copy it as easily as I did. So I'm going to tell you which one it is, because otherwise, and the variable is this one here, okay? It says describe your idea here, where it says input user idea. Well, it's this one right here. That's what you need to replace, okay? Manually, wasting your time? I don't know, maybe. All right, let's hit send. We're going to close this now. Let's close this. I didn't hate the app, but let's create another one, okay? And this time, it'll be called mind_map. Well, AI the same, but all together. Here we go to File, New Window, close the previous one. Perfect. File, Open Folder, Download, Mind Map AI all together, select folder. Great. So here we have the result, okay? Let's do the same thing. Paste it in, and this result works a bit better. With the logic, gives you a better outcome and all that, okay? For example, things I don't like right-click or long press to create a connection between two nodes. Well, we'd have to test it, but I'm not really feeling it. Support images, local storage. What's this for? This helps us because I have to say that in the previous case, it gave us great results, but if it didn't, we could be using a prompt like this. Come on, let's send it. There's the prompt, right? Well, this prompt, I'll tell you right now that it's an adaptation of a prompt we use for Google AI Studio, okay? Obviously, it's not refined and all that, but hey, if you want to learn how to make proper prompts, in the description, you've got a free ebook to learn how to use artificial intelligence, which is the first thing you need to get started. So you're welcome. Now check out the tasks, okay? Now the tasks are quite different, right? We already have a much longer project. Let's proceed with the implementation plan. All right, so the project is already created. I want you to see the difference in content between the two. One literally has 3 files and 44 kilobytes, while the other has 105 megabytes and almost 6,000 files. Obviously, one is using libraries and such, and the other just uses plain JavaScript, and let's do a CMD. Let's do, oops, I made a mistake. CD into it and npm run dev. There it is, running on localhost. We open localhost, and here we have the tool, okay? Okay, I'm going to click create, which is what we want, and what node, how can I, oh, node, okay? And how do I type in the node? Select. It won't let me write. I have shape. You can make it circular or hexagonal. I have multiple colors. Let's see, it looks pretty good, I have to say, but both looked pretty good. I don't know if I can open the other one too. Man, honestly, nothing I like, huh? I mean, you see, this one here looks much better. I asked for images to be added, okay? There it lets me add them. I wish I could select the image and move it. Well, there it kind of deletes. Well, these are all errors we need to improve, okay? And then connect, okay? We can connect between different nodes. Man, let's see. I like this one a lot better, not gonna lie. And then we can export, import, reset zoom, okay? We can lock a group, lock group, though I don't really know what unlock group does there. Well, these are the functions we have, huh? Everything, like I said, it's all about improving it, but as a mind map, pretty nice, right? We can export the JSON mind map, JSON. My question is, if I close this now, click, I close it. Well, nothing. This is about improving it, but as you see, we have a very good base. Let me tell you, we have Code with Agent, which is what we're using, but we also have Agent Manager, okay? Which is a whole world where we can see all the app development. Well, what's this for? It would help us monitor if we had multiple agents running at once to modify multiple sections from that section, be able to see it. And that's it. With this, I've pretty much covered everything. Look, we have npm run dev here, cancel command. There it is. That's why it opened in another local host. Okay, so this would be a matter of iterating and improving the tool. Well, I've been iterating for quite a while with the tool, and it seems to work pretty well. It's quite comfortable to use. I think it's super fast. It's also true that I'm using cloud, so of course you can tell, and you can also notice the awareness it has of the entire platform and everything, the whole application ecosystem. So yeah, that's it for this video using anti-gravity, and I hope you enjoyed it. All right, so we're going to talk about which is better, anti-gravity, Windsurf, or Cursor. These are the most popular AI coding tools out there. I have to say I've used anti-gravity, Cursor Premium, and Windsurf in a more experimental way. And without a doubt, the best for delegating complex tasks, in my opinion, is Google Antigravity. I have the Pro version of Google Gemini, so I have access to better models and higher limits on interactions and iterations, so obviously I can work more comfortably. But comparing it directly to Cursor's premium version right off the bat, boom. For me, it doesn't just write code. The planning it gives you, all the information about the approach and what it's going to do, I think it's really good, honestly. And I haven't seen that as much in Cursor. Plus, with Cursor, you constantly have that pressure that you're burning through credits and credits, and every time a message goes wrong, it stings even more. With anti-gravity, though, you don't get that feeling. So yeah, Google Antigravity is theoretically better, but it's true that for fluency or typing speed, Cursor could be pretty good. That doesn't mean Google Antigravity is bad. I think Cursor is much more focused on if you want to code yourself and just tweak small things, which honestly you can also do with Google Antigravity. Plus, you have access to many other features, right? I mean, with Google Antigravity, we have this mode, the inline code edit, and that's it if we just want to modify one section. And theoretically, the best for context, for deep context and all that, would be Windsurf. When it comes to code bases, retrieving the necessary context and all that without having to manually tag files, well, Windsurf handles it, right? It's true that anti-gravity is also the newest, so yeah, it might have some errors or bugs and stuff, but what can I say? That's my experience, especially focused on bytecoding. I think anti-gravity does it really well, honestly. Cursor has given me the impression that many times for bytecoding, it just doesn't work. It's the reality. I mean, to modify something, it breaks 1,000 things, which, I mean, that's normal, right? Don't expect anti-gravity to be perfect. But with Cursor, we're talking about it making one modification and straight up breaking the project so you can't even open it. And this, of course, when you're paying per use, really hurts way more than Google Antigravity, okay? Well, you guys tell me your opinion. Do you think that if you had infinite money, Cursor or Windsurf could beat Google Antigravity? Tell me what you think. All right, so I'd like to talk about Antigravity's pricing. And well, like I said, with Gemini 3 Pro, the Google AI Pro that gives us Gemini Pro already includes 1,000 points for Flow and Whisk. It gives us access to the Flow model with limited access to 3.1, IC 3.1. It gives us access to Gemini Code Assist and Gemini CLI, which are really powerful tools with very high daily request limits. Google Antigravity, and this is where I want to get to, gives us higher rate limits in the Google Antigravity agent model. And honestly, I mean, it's not like you write 2 prompts and you're done. It actually lets you go for quite a while. I've been using it for almost 2 hours now and I still haven't hit the limit yet, you know? So we'd have this for 22 euros a month. Obviously, if we're going to work with and use the entire Google ecosystem, it's really good. It's very, very good. But if not, we can opt to go to Google Antigravity for the pricing. We have the individual plan, $0 a month. It lists models, Gemini 3 Pro, Flask, Claude Sonnet Opus 4.5, GPT-OS, unlimited command requests, and weekly rate limits. Then we'd have the developer plan, which comes with Google AI Ultra, and the team plan, which also integrates with Google Workspace, right? From what I'm seeing, with Google Workspace plans, we can also get access to these tools. Access advanced features with Google Workspace AI Ultra Access. I have Google Workspace now that I think about it, so that's also an option. Would I recommend paying for Ultra for Google Antigravity? The higher rate limits on the model? Well, I'd say no. If the only thing that changes is the model limits, I'd say no. Unless you're hitting the limits and you're consistently hitting those limits and you can afford it, I'd go with the 23 or 21 euro per month version, 22 euros a month for Google AI Pro. And that's it. Honestly, I don't think the jump between Google AI Pro and Google AI Ultra is that significant when it comes to Google Antigravity, Now access to DeepThink, Gemini Agent, and the rest, that's a different story, so be careful. All right. How do we let the Google Antigravity tool use the extension, work on its own, and test how everything functions? As you can see here, people are getting a bit used to it, but it's already working, okay? Looks like it managed to open the tool. This is my first time using it. Now I'll show you how to set it up and avoid all kinds of bugs, because I've had bugs, and probably many of you, thousands of people, are having the same issue. Don't worry, we'll fix it. First off, in the description, if you want to learn about AI, you've got my free ebook and my prompt library, Prompt Ball, where you can save your own prompts if you're interested. Let's let the AI do its thing, and I'll explain how to do it. Alright, first of all, we need to have Google Antigravity. Obviously, but to avoid any issues in Google Antigravity, top right, we need to sign in. That's obvious too. Alright, let's go to Chrome. Open the Chrome profile with the account where you have the paid version of Google Antigravity. Oh, I don't have a paid version. Okay, well, with whichever version you've signed into Google Antigravity. For example, if you signed into Google Antigravity with your account number 1, then in Chrome, sign in with account number 1. Good. Search for Google Antigravity extension. Alright, we go in and save it. Now, over here in Settings, in Open Antigravity User Settings, once you've got the extension alone doesn't do anything. So don't try clicking around, because nothing will happen. I tried it here in browser. Look, it changed everything on me here. I had tried entering the binary path and the browser user profile path. Don't worry about this. It's not necessary. Alright, what's going to happen? Let me see if I can find the chat. Okay, I tell him, open localhost and check if the add images button works. In other words, I'm telling him to test on his own whether the tool works. He starts testing, navigates, tries it out, well, does all the planning. He starts and says that URL opened in browser, URL opened in browser, blah, 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 it's opened. And he says, I tried to navigate and I couldn't. And what's the error? It says, failed to create browser context, failed to install Playwright. And the error is, home environment variable is not set. Okay, this is the error. How do we fix this error? Very easy. Basically, we just tell him, hey, I have a browser error because the home environment variable is missing. Please open the terminal and set the home environment variable to point to my current user folder. I need this saved for Playwright to work correctly. You have the message here, you can copy it as is. You can do an OCR and you've got it. So the guy fixes it. What happens? Once he fixes it, we have to restart the computer. And once we restart, because here, as you see, I'm trying again. I tried again, but it failed, so I restarted. I told it, try again, retry now. And it worked, which is what we were seeing at the beginning. And I'm seeing it has playback. Wow, I can see what it's been doing in case I wasn't actively watching, to see what it's been testing and doing. Wow, this program is incredible. Now, the million-dollar question, did it fix it for me? No, it didn't fix it for me. But hey, I fixed the error, this error. Now I have many others left. I hope I've been helpful, as always. The best help you can give is liking this and giving me your email in the form below in the description. I won't spam you. I'll just notify you of the latest A news. You can subscribe. The content is great. Okay, I put a lot of work into it. How many people are out there explaining this? Subscribe. Now, yes, I hope you liked it and see you in future videos. Bye-bye.